know what time it is.
How it all works.
Come on.
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 Yeah. All right. It's good to be back. What's good, family? I see some of you out there already making it known, making your presence known in the place. I love it. I absolutely love it. Man, it is good to be here. What a weekend it has been, man. Always excited to come and hang out with my HIW family here on Monday nights. What's good, Lakia? What's good? Gary Jones in the place, in the space. I see Gary Link says, best opening intro music, HIAW, how it all works. I love it. Seesaw Studios is in the place. What's going on? Steve Woods, what's going on, man? James Hicks is in the place, man. James Hicks, we got legends in the chat. What's going on, fam? Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight. We are going to dive in head first. Organic partnerships and sponsorships. There's a lot of ground to cover. So without any further ado, let's talk about some of these announcements. As you already know, not all of you, and that's the reason why we keep on bringing it back up. I have this book, this ebook, this PDF, 31 live streaming tips to grow your audience. And then listen, I say that people always ask me, well, is it your thing about live video? Listen, it's about live video. Yes, it's about live streaming, but it's about people. It's about people. It's about their needs. It's about their stories. It's about getting that information out there. And I absolutely love being a part of people's success story. That's what I want to be. I want to be a person who helps to literally lift others up to their potential, to their goal, all of the things that they want to achieve. I just realized that I'm hearing myself, so I had to pause for a second, like, wait, what's that coming from? But yeah, man, watching you and in a Zoom meeting, Lakia says, I love it. I love it. I love it. Gary Jones has put it in the chat, and I love that. So you can grab the book right there. It's also kirkarnugent.live/31 tips, but either one will take you to the same place. Let me just make sure of that. 31. Yeah, it's 31 tips. They'll take you to the same place. So either one, it doesn't matter. So absolutely, by all means, go ahead and grab that if that's something that you're interested in. Want to make sure that you guys have the resources you need to be able to be successful in your journey. Listen, I am excited to be going on a trip in the next few days, traveling to Newport News, Virginia, to the Live the Live Life conference and summit. It's going to be there in Newport News, Virginia. If you guys have ever been on Amazon and you followed a lady named Kimberly Millionaire, you know who I'm talking about. You already know what she does. You know how she does it. You know that along with several others, these are six-figure earners. Absolutely love what she's got going on over there. And I want to make sure that you guys are aware of it. That is going to be posted to my speaker page. It's going to be emailed out to our mailing list. So definitely, oh, great, Gary, my bad, man. You're beating me to it. My bad. But Gary Jones has the link in the chat for you guys. Live the Live Life. I'm going to be talking about how to create a live production that really enhances the live shopping experience, right? So we're actually narrowing down even further, right? So it's not just live production for the sake of live production, but we want to create a live shopping experience that is different, that is unique, that really sets the tone and allows people to really engage. So I'm excited about that. G. Albert says, hello, Mr. Nugent. What's going on, G. Albert? Appreciate you guys. Listen, fam, this is what I want you to do, even as we get ready to shift to this next one. Showing you guys the lineup of shows that we have every week of the month is what we have on this next slide. But I want you guys, in the show today, if you hear something of value, if you hear something that really resonates with you, I want you to do two things for me. Number one, if you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Number two, hit that like button. It tells YouTube that this is valuable content, and the more we can get our likes up, the more we can get this content out there to others who may need to hear it as well. So definitely want to make sure you guys get a chance to do that and help us in that way. Listen, fam, it's going to be dope. We got this is the lineup for the month. There we go. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Come on, Gary Jones. Thank you. This is the lineup for the month right here. How It All Works Live is going to be on the first Mondays. Let me make that a little bigger. It's going to be on the first Mondays of the month. Of course, 7 p.m. All of the Monday shows are at 7 p.m. Mid-month huddle, 7 p.m. second Mondays. All right. Then on second Mondays, right after the mid-month huddle, we have our membership meetup. So, okay, of course, that's for members only, but definitely want to make sure that we get you guys in there. Albert's asking if I have ICA links for my scheduled events. I do not, but that is a great idea, Albert. And I'm one whose time has come. So I'm definitely going to be looking into that. Then third Mondays, Convos and Collabs. It's literally the same day and time. So all you got to do is stick with us first, second, third, fourth Mondays. Every Monday, just hang out with us here on How It All Works, and you'll be good to go. And then, of course, we do studio consultations. This is the only difference, right? Studio consultations on Wednesdays on Amazon Live. So day after tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Central Time, we will be doing studio consultations. And on the flyer there, it says, email your studio pictures. I know it's small, but email your studio pictures to info@howitallworks.com and we'll get you set up. I think that's going to be absolutely awesome. Next week, I'm excited to share, well, first of all, we talked about our monthly meetup right after the mid-month huddle on the second Mondays of the month. So I always want to make sure that we are plugging this, want to make sure that we grow this community, want to make sure you guys get an opportunity. I got a new studio pic. Oh, come on, David Hunt, send that picture in, info@howitallworks.com. That's correct. That is the email. So go ahead and send your picture in, David Hunt. But I always want to make sure we're sharing with you guys, like, there are more resources. Yes, we have videos that we put out on YouTube. Yes, we are constantly sharing other little tidbits of content here or there. Of course, we have our live shows. We even have a mid-month huddle where you get to ask whatever questions you want. But if you want to go deeper, there are other ways that you can do that. There are ways that you can support this content. Maybe you don't have the time to join a community group, but maybe you just want to say thank you in a tangible way. Want to make sure you guys get a chance to do that. And you can do that by going to kirkarnugent.com/support. Links are in the description. Doesn't matter where you're watching right now. The links are in the description. If you go to member, if you go to whatever, that page, you have many ways to be able to support. And we're going to be rolling out YouTube memberships very shortly, like very, very shortly. Before September starts, we will have YouTube memberships. So keep that in mind. Keep that on your radar. Maybe that is a different way that you can engage, that you can join the community and take one step closer. We definitely want to make sure you get a chance to do that, because that is, end game. That's what it's all about. All right. So we have the YT video. All right. So this is YouTube video. This is the latest on the YouTube channel. We started our first video of the series, the EV Mux tutorial series, right? So going to be doing a couple of videos, not a whole exhaustive list, but we'll have a couple, 5, 6, maybe 7 videos where we kind of go over some things for EV Mux. Wanted to make sure we have some content out there for this platform. This is get this, partnership. This is a partnership that I am cultivating, that I am grooming, that I'm growing, and I'm hoping will yield significant fruit in the future. A partnership. Now think about our title for the live today and what we're going to be covering tonight. This is a partnership that I am literally growing, and because it was organic, it came out of an organic place. Both the folks at EV Mux and I feel like this is a partnership that can work. We got some really cool things coming up in the month of October for some of the stuff that we're doing with EV Mux as well. Mercy. We got somebody in the chat and that is doing some interesting things there. But next up, we have our guests for next week. Our guests for next week, and our title for the show next week. See what we got here, man. See what we got right here. Silverhead Fitness is like, hello, much joy and abundance. Thank you so much for being here. But our guests for next week is John and April Nixon. These guys are content creators. They are the host of course, the show by their name, Just John and April podcast. But I am excited to bring them through to talk about their journey of how they became who they are now. But one of the things that we're going to be specifically sharing with folks is ways that you can be confident on camera, how to develop camera confidence. I talked about that a little bit earlier today, but I want you to hear from somebody else's perspective. And in this case, a couple, how they became comfortable and confident on camera. I'm excited about that. It's going to be pretty awesome. We got a lineup for you in the month of September. Monty Weaver is going to be coming to hang out with us. And then we have another guest on the third Monday of September, but I don't want to share it yet because we're still working on some details. We had somebody fall through, and so we were working on some details with this person. So I'm excited for that thing, man. So we're excited about that. So that's what we got going on next week. But this week, we're going to be talking about organic partnerships, and sponsorships. And we're excited to get into the presentation today. So without any further ado, let's go. We are here. We are here, family. Now we are here. Now we're in. The preview is done, right? The announcements are over. The countdown clock has finished. Now we're in. This is the final installment of the series, Live Video Strategy. And I love doing this series. I'm excited that you guys keep coming back because you find value in this solo series that I've been doing here. Talking about defining your brand, building an online community, automate, scale, monetize. Now we're finally landing the plane with organic partnerships and sponsorships. Excited about this and excited to share a little bit of what we've been talking about here. Oh, come on, Quan59. No way, no way. No. But you're absolutely correct, Quan59. You have not been on the show, and I need to rectify that. I see Quan59's comment, and I just had to make mention because he's absolutely right. I need to rectify that. That cannot stand. I will be in touch with you this week. This week, I will be in touch with you because we got to get that situated. I actually know exactly where we can. I would love to have you fit in. I just hope the date works. So I'm going to be reaching out to you this week. Thank you so much for being here and for hanging out and for commenting. You know, a lot of people come and hang out, but they don't necessarily comment. Listen, you see the question on the screen. What is a partnership? Go ahead. Have a field day. Go ahead and have a field day. What is a partnership? What is a partnership? What does a partnership even look like? What would you say a partnership is? How would you define a partnership in your own words? Not Webster, right? Not Merriam, not none of listen, not even Wikipedia, right? Which we know is not official, but none of those other things. What would you say is a partnership? We have one. Somebody just said it's like a marriage. It's like a marriage. I like that one, Albert. I like that. You listen, you're doing good work. This man has clearly been married for a long time. Let's go. So with Joanne Banco says a relationship with mutual benefits. Are you looking at my notes, Joanne? I mean, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? But what else you got out there? What is a partnership? Talk to me. What is a partnership? What? Listen, so we've got two comments already. Like a marriage. Somebody says it's like a marriage. Marriage is definitely a great example of a partnership. And Joanne says a relationship of mutual benefit. A relationship of I can't even hang my hat on that comment because it's too close to what I have on my notes. Silverhead Fitness says a mutual meeting of two minds. A mutual meeting of two minds. I like these. Partnership. A partnership. An association, listen to me, an association of two or more people as partners. That's one. Okay. Seesaw Studio says an arrangement or agreement between two or more people to work together. You see, to work together, an arrangement or agreement between two or more people to work together. I like it. It resonates. It resonates. We got several comments coming in, and they are good ones. I just want to throw them on screen real quick. My first stab at this. All right, what I shared with you is that it's an association of two or more people as partners. And as they say, oh my goodness, Austin Humphreys is on the live. I gotta drop a bomb for Austin Humphreys, man. What's good? But a partnership is the state of being a partner or partners. I think we don't need to overcomplicate it. Okay, it's inherent in the term partner that what a partnership is. It's the active tense of the word partnership, right? So we're in partnership with one another. We are, as has already been said, really great ones in the chat here. We're working together. A mutual meeting of two minds, a relationship of mutual benefit. One of the things I would simply add is we have overlap and synergy in our goals. So we've decided to strategically partner where we have overlap. You see how that works there? You see how that works? Where we have overlap, we have decided to simply partner. And where one can benefit the other is looking to benefit the other as well, if that makes sense. Andy Lyons is here. Andy Lyons. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you so much for coming through. I love it. What is a partnership? A partnership in a very simple state, an association of two or more people as partners. Association of two or more people as partners. Okay, well, if we're going to define partnerships, then we may as well define sponsorship. So go ahead, take your best stab at it. What is a sponsorship? What is a sponsorship? What is a sponsorship for your show, for your content, for your social media platforms where you're putting out What would you say? What would a sponsor? Have you ever been a sponsor? I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but that this is actually one of the hacks right here is to fully understand that sponsorship process. Have you ever gone through and been a sponsor? Have you ever sponsored something? The church that I belong to here in Huntsville, we went ahead and partnered with the local radio station. So we were one of their sponsors, but also partner, right? So our sponsorship side is that we gave financially towards this concert that they were having. But from the partnership side, we actually were volunteers at the concert. You see, the partnership is that we're doing something of mutual benefit. So when we were at the concert, we were able to not only volunteer and help out with some of the logistics, but we were also able to wear our bridge shirts and talk to folks about the bridge. So we recognize that the radio station is hitting some of the same audience that we want to target and get in front of. And so they had this big thing going on. So we saw it as an opportunity to not only sponsor this project so that our logo was prominently placed there, but we also saw the opportunity to become partners. So we shared the flyer on our social media platforms, in our newsletter. We talked to our team about this project and some of the things that they could not only get involved with, but they could take advantage of. Some of the people didn't come there to volunteer. They simply came there to have a good time and be a part of the concert. We were sponsors and partners at the same time. And let me catch some of your comments. Andy Lyon says, always grateful for your wisdom, Kirk. Oh, I love when she's here, man. This is awesome. G. Albert says, when I was at the Cleveland Clinic as IT director, I had a partnership between me, my employees, and my extended customer base. The staff used to call me boss. At first, I was embarrassed. Listen, you're sharing your story, man. I appreciate it. A ship of sponsors is what David is saying. A ship of sponsors. I love it. I love it. Support by supplying product, money, or other means. Sponsorship. Support by supplying. Listen, Joanne, I just need you to however you got a hold of my notes, just put them away, put them aside so that I want to teach too. No, I'm just joking. That's a great comment. Great comment. A special type of partners. Very good point, David Hunt. Very good point. A special type of partner. Seesaw Studio says supporting or funding and or promoting an organization, business, or person. That is what he has defined as a sponsorship. Listen, it doesn't get any more clear than this. It doesn't get any clearer than this. A financial support received from a sponsor. The position of being a sponsor. You could be a sponsor my family and I sponsored a child in Kenya. Okay, you could be a sponsor of somebody's tuition at college. You could be a sponsor. You could be a listen. The Alcoholics Anonymous use the term sponsor as well. Huh? You ever thought about that? What sponsorship can take on several different but there is a mode and a posture of support when it comes on to being a sponsor for someone else. I'm sponsoring you. Sponsors, a lot of times, are not necessarily looking for any benefits. They want to see the sponsored be successful. Now, in content creation, it doesn't necessarily happen that way. But sponsorship, a sponsorship can take on many different functions, many different roles. It is determined by those who are engaged in the relationship. Let me see what else we got here. Andy Lyon says, partners are committed to the vision and mission financially and with intangible resources. Intangible resources. Austin Humphrey says, so good to be back. Intangible resources. I absolutely love that idea. Intangible resources. They're not necessarily financial, but you want to see the best for the sponsored. if you're in the role of the sponsor, you want to see the best for the sponsored. Sometimes because you have shared benefit, shared value that you will receive, but a lot of times simply because you desire their good. To choose a person who is an idea representation of a product or business. Silverhead Fitness, come on through. To choose a person who is an idea product. The way you put this is so good because we're going to dive into partnerships versus sponsorship. But the next thing after that is we're going to talk about organic. And the way you put that, Silverhead, to choose a person who is an ideal representation, an ideal meaning that this is organic. You're not force fitting. We're going to get into that. Let me rein it back in a little bit. Sponsors aim to increase awareness of the sponsored goals. Andy Lyon says, wind in your sails, open doors for the organization. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. And so now that we've built this foundation, in business, a sponsorship exists when one entity provides financial support to another to achieve promotional advantages. This is just one definition. A partnership means each entity shares in the responsibilities, risks, and earnings of a business arrangement. Again, these are not prescriptive. I'm putting this as food for thought. Some of you have already started doing this. What is is a partnership another version of a sponsorship? Is it totally different? Does money define which one is which? If I am making money only and the sponsor or the partner or sponsor is not, does that define it? How do the two live and exist together? Love that, Silverhead Fitness. Andy Lyons is saying. I absolutely love that one as well. When you take time, let me back up a little bit. When you take some time to truly understand what are some of the possibilities that exist in both partnerships and sponsorships, you can make your own version depending on the brand, depending on the partner, depending on the sponsor, depending on the platform, the service, the product, the business, depending on who or what it is and how they've chosen to either engage with you or you engage with them, you can kind of figure out how that engagement makes the best sense for both parties. Here's the truth. A lot of times, people get so wrapped up in the definition of one or the other, they don't realize that you can go a la carte. You don't just have to order the entree that's on the menu. You can decide to pick a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I've found that the merging of the two is my sweet spot when it comes on to identifying people that I want to partner with, identifying people that I want to have affiliated with my brand, or people that I want to affiliate my brand with. You see, it's a two-way street. It's very much a two-way street. It's very much a two-way street. G. Albert says, in reality, they both coexist more than not, so long as you are not a nag or a politician. A politician, oh my goodness. Kerwin Bornell is here. Thank you so much for coming through. Y'all gonna see some blue wrenches in the chat tonight. Partnership versus sponsorship. Will sponsorship has rules that you have to stick to as well as pushing a brand? Maybe. And again, this is why a lot of times people see the words, oh, I've got a partnership. So-and-so is sponsoring this thing. And you think it denotes a specific thing. You believe that this relationship exists in a certain way. But the truth of the matter is, regardless of what you want to term it, right? The two terms are there on the screen. But regardless of what you want to term it, as long as the two entities have found common ground in which to exist and get benefit, regardless if only one is benefiting or the other is benefiting intangibly, you have come to an agreement. You have coming to a working relationship. And sometimes money does exchange hands. And other times money doesn't, but the things that you gain are far better than money could ever bring you. This is the part that excites me the most, because partnerships, this whole idea of, having these brands that you're working with and stuff like that, it comes down to, how did you get there, right? And that's the next slide, right? That's how did you get there in terms of, let's get back here. How did you get there, right? And that's what that slide is. And then the second thing is, not only how did you get there, but what is the goal? How did you get into relationship? And then what did you define as the end zone, the goal line for said relationship? So we have on the screen organic opportunities, organic. And this is why I resonated so much with what Silverhead said, an ideal representative, an ideal representation. Listen, if you've never spoken about, I can't tell you how many brands reach out to me like, we'd love for you to do a live show on Amazon about our product. And I'm like, oh, okay. How did you find me? We saw your show on Amazon. And so in my mind, I'm thinking immediately, oh, so you saw my show and you saw me already advertising your product. That's what I'm thinking. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, I've never even heard of their product. I've never heard of their brand. I've never heard of what they're selling. And I'm not even certain it's a good match for my audience. This is not organic. This is not, as Silverhead says, an ideal representation of a product or business. Like, somebody comes to me and they're like, we want you to help us advertise hair products. I'm like, why? Because I never talk about hair products. And now, I'm not saying I don't use them, but I never talk about them. Organic opportunities are opportunities, fam, that you don't have to poke, prod, and pump up. You don't have to start writing a script and figuring out what is it I'm going to start talking about this thing. You know, the only reason why you have to do that with non-organic opportunities is because you don't have any stories with that product. You don't have any stories with it. When you use a platform as much as I use Ecamm or StreamYard or even EVMux these days, you have stories to share that have nothing to do with being sponsored or partnered or whatever term you want to use. You have stories, you have content, you have lived experiences, and those lived experiences are valuable to the audience for which you are looking to build a relationship. Organic partnerships get their value from the genuine excitement an influencer has for your brand. The genuine excitement an influencer has for your brand. It's the perfect combination of word of mouth, marketing, and celebrity endorsement that generates huge potential for sales. Organic relationships. Because I would tell you about this thing whether they paid me to or not. Because if somebody says to me, hey man, I'm having trouble flipping through my scenes, I'm having trouble doing these things, I'd be like, man, I had the same issue. I just went ahead and got the Stream Deck. Now, am I pushing the product? I'm simply responding to a friend, as a friend, telling them how I solved the issue that they currently have with this product. Does Stream Deck pay me? Absolutely not. But even if they did, it wouldn't make a difference because there's genuine excitement as an influencer that I have for the brand. And as the statement says, this is the perfect combination of word of mouth marketing and celebrity endorsement. Now, I'm not calling myself a celebrity, but I see David Hunt put Tom Buck in the chat, and I'm excited to see that because, again, the more the excitement you have for a brand's product, they'll seek you out and they'll start sending you stuff. Tell how I got over. They'll start sending you stuff. They'll start sending you product. They'll make sure you know about different things first because they recognize you're one of the mouthpieces for their community. Organic sponsorships and partnerships. Here's a link to that to get that fixed. There you go. They'll let you know what's on the product roadmap. I used to sit on those meetings for some of, I can't even say the platform, but I used to sit on some of those meetings to know what's coming out ahead of time, because as an influencer, they knew that I was a lot more closely situated with the listening audience, with their potential and existing customers. To be clear, the benefit for some of these brands isn't just new customers, it's developing synergy and loyalty within even their existing customers. Let me tell you something. Our organic opportunities, because you don't have to manufacture them, they are the sweetest, let's say if it is a paycheck, right? Not all of them are paychecks, but it's the sweetest paycheck that will ever hit your pocket, because you know in your heart of hearts, I would have said this, I would have done this regardless of whether or not they were going to give me money. But the fact that they are, I love it even more. Now I said in my email that went out this afternoon, I talked about people who have gone after partnerships that are ridiculously lucrative, but they have nothing to do with their brand, their value proposition, their audience. But they've gone after these. I know several of them by name. I'm not going to name them, but they go after these partnerships because the money is good and they need to make ends meet. I don't know what their end goal is, but you see, I said it on the screen already. Their end goal was something other than, something other than what my end goal was. Let me say it that way. My end goal, or your end goal, and this is where I want you to start pulling out pen and paper, y'all. 15 of you guys are on the live. Love having you guys hanging out with us, but I want to make sure you leave with something tangible. What are you if you want to get into partnership or sponsorship with a brand or a company or platform that you currently are organically use and are an ambassador of, just put a Y in the chat. Yes, I would like to get myself into a partnership, sponsorship. I would love to have something like this. Just put a Y in the chat if that's you. If it's not you, I get it, but I'm going to go ahead and start the ball rolling by putting a Y myself in the chat. And I see Nobu has put a Y in the chat as well. I appreciate that, Nobu. I appreciate that. If this is something that okay, Gary Jones is in there. We received a masterclass is what Gary's saying. We received a masterclass on the purpose of sponsorships and partnerships. Thank you so much, man. Ys are coming in the chat. I love it. I love it. Ys are coming in the chat. That's so cool. If you are interested in getting so now that you have your Ys in the chat, talk to me about what the end goal is. What are some of the desired results from partnerships or sponsorships? Can you name a few? What are some of the things? It's okay to say money, y'all. It's okay. It's not a bad word. But if you're gonna say money for what? Is it money for sustainability of your show so that you can continue the show, so you can give it the production value that you think your show needs and has to have in order to continue its upward trajectory? Is it money for promotion? right? Is it money for bringing in guests who you can't currently bring in because you just don't have those kind of pockets? Oh, Gary Jones says opening doors for others, being an asset to a company. These are really good. More exposure so I can serve more people. That's Joanne Banco. How did you get it? Like I would have to call Kanique and see if she let Joanne into the house to take a copy of my notes off of the printer or something, because how did you get in there? More exposure so I can serve more people. I'm going to read it verbatim. I'm going to read it verbatim. Access, right? Access to the community, access to their channel, access to their resources, access to their feedback, access to their early updates, right? Access to notoriety and clout, right? And here's the last piece I have here, Joanne. Established as an authority figure. Some of us want partnerships for a quick payoff. And this is what I can tell you. I had a conversation with Katie Fox. She's the marketing manager at Ecamm. And I shared with her that every time I show up on the Ecamm channel, whether it's as a guest presenter, whether I'm a speaker on something they're doing, one of their shows, the stream show, and Unfulgence have the ENN show, and then Building Blocks. There's all these different platforms that they have. But I shared with Katie, I said, every single time I show up on the Ecamm channel, I see a direct correlation to an influx of people coming into the top of my funnel. They don't pay me for these guest appearances, but they basically are. Because that channel and that community has access to a large people group that I don't have access to. Not that I can't go in there and talk and do different things. I do that. But the idea is being on one of those platforms, being on one of those shows, it says to people who are watching, as Joanne said, it gives me influence. It gives me more exposure so that I can serve more people. What is your end goal for partnerships and sponsorships? What is your end goal? Silverhead Fitness says, be the spokesperson for product or business which will make me feel on top of the world. Here's the truth. You want to be seen as an authority figure. You want to be seen as a thought leader in your space. What are the brands? What are the platforms that are used in that space? If you are seen as an expert on that brand's platform, you immediately are seen as an authority voice in your industry, in your niche. Folks will say, well, man, if StreamYard has him on their show, and even Mux has him on their show, and Ecamm has him on their show, and I mean, they're asking him to speak. Clearly, something, right? As they say, success leaves clues. The clues are there. Joanne says, I could use advice for getting more of those relevant partners knocking on my door. I absolutely love that. I'm going to make sure I star that because I want to come back to that, toward the end of my presentation today, which we're not far from done. I do know how important it is for it to be a good fit on both sides. That cannot be overstated. It cannot be overstated. It needs to be a good fit. Because if you feel like I have to step outside of my norm to push this brand that I'm partnered with, doesn't quite work out. If you feel like I've got to do these things, no. Listen, when I get a chance to engage on some of these platforms, and I get a chance to talk about live streaming and live video and content creation and how you can utilize this for your business, your passion project, your side hustle, to take what you are doing in darkness and bring it into the marvelous light, for people to stop calling you the best kept secret because they only call you that because they want you to keep your prices where it is. When I get a chance to tell people that your live stream is your digital storefront, because there's no greater way for people to experience your greatness than for them to see you do it live, I get excited. I get excited. And I get excited when I find partners, sponsors who are excited about the same thing. I get excited when I find these people, these brands, these entities, these organizations who get excited about the same thing. Doesn't have to be the exact same thing. But one of my passions, and somebody said it in the chat, is for people. I absolutely love working with, serving, and supporting people, various stages of their journeys, various stages of whatever it is. I work with folks in the finance industry. I work with influencers that are in the legal profession. I work with folks who are in the marriage enrichment community. I work with some of everybody. And the common denominator is that their lived experience informs the value that they have to offer. And I simply show them how to use the vehicle of live video to get it out there to a bigger audience. Kerwin says, it's a double-edged sword. The sponsored brand should and must have some quality behind it. It's definitely a double-edged sword. I'm so glad you said it, Kerwin. It's definitely a double-edged sword. It's definitely a double-edged sword because, listen, the only reason why you're excited about something is because it met your need, right? It answered your question when you had a question. It solved your problem when you were looking for a solution. And so when people talk about stuff like Canva, people talk about Canva as if this is the second coming of the Messiah. Why? Because Canva, for the non-graphic designer, opened a world of graphic design to us with a GUI front end. If you've ever worked in Photoshop, you know what I'm talking about. Now I get some of it because of my technical background, but Photoshop ain't the one, bro. It's not the one. So when you speak about the platform, regardless of whether you're sponsored, partnered, whatever, you speak about it from the perspective of what it did for me. And so inherent in that statement is the value, right? It is the quality that you talk about there, Kerwin. Now, I hope you have your pen and paper still out, because we want to identify some things. Like, who are they? Who are they? Make a list of the brands in your niche. The brands in your niche is the first list. The second list are the tools you currently use. The brands in your niche is the first list. The second list, I should say, is the tools you currently use. Brands in your niche. Like, I was working with a chemistry professor, and he was telling me about this beaker that was, when you pour a solution into it, it wirelessly sends information back to the computer, analyzing what exactly is being poured into the container. I know nothing about these things. I'm an information technology professional by trade and training, but I knew nothing about this. And he was talking about it as if everybody knew that this was possible and that this brand was doing this and that, it's revolutionizing how we do what we do. And I'm like, bruh, that you're in your bag right now. Like, that is one of the brands in your niche that you should be very much aware of and you should be looking to partner with. And man talked about it with such ease, with just flowing. Oh yeah, we talk this, that. Yeah. Who are those brands? There's a gentleman that I follow on YouTube. His name is Graham Cochran. Some of you may be familiar with him. Maybe you're not. I don't know. But Graham, his original content was on so I don't remember if it was I can't remember if it was on leadership, or I don't remember anymore because he no longer does that kind of content anymore. Because one of the things he realized was how powerful online courses are, right? And so he began building online courses, of course, in his own specific area, but he was so excited about the ability to build online courses with a particular platform, so excited that he began to work with that platform. And that relationship, we're just going to call them relationships, okay? That relationship bloomed into an entire new business that has taken over and completely eclipsed his original business. So Graham Cochran now makes content with and for Kajabi. And his affiliate and his partnership and those numbers are of a nature that he does not need to do anything else. But I want you to catch this. He would have talked about Kajabi as the tool that he was using to build out these courses and share with people the knowledge that he had, regardless of whether or not Kajabi wanted to partner with him or not. Because the tool was, in his opinion, the answer to an issue. The tool was an answer to his issue. The tool was an answer to his issue. I see your question, Nobu, and we're coming to. I'm starring it. I've got your question there. I've got Joanne's question there. We're gonna get to those. Write down, make those lists. Once you have those lists in hand, here's what I want you to do. I want you to research their gaps. This is the piece that most people don't understand. This is a cycle. I got a chance to take a class from Justin Moore. He has this whole platform called Brand Deal Wizard. And if you've never heard of Justin Moore and you're looking for sponsorships, partnerships, you're looking for brands to work with, you need to plug into what Justin Moore has got going on. So I got a chance to go through his training program, and he talked about the brand deal wheel, this cycle essentially of what you're doing in the life cycle of these relationships that you're building. And to be clear, this note that I'm sharing with you, I wrote it before going to his class. And so going to his class has further driven home the idea that this is critical. Understanding the needs in you. Some of them, you're going to have to research their gaps. But for a lot of the brands, you won't need to research them because you're so familiar with them. You already know the gaps. I was able to make content that immediately scratched the itch of the brands I wanted to partner with because I was a consumer of that brand. I was able to make a video talking about getting good sound quality out of StreamYard because I had experienced not having good sound quality in StreamYard. So researching their gaps is only for those brands where you're not as familiar with them. But some of your research can just come from your own experience, having worked with, having been a customer of said brand, product, or service. Research their gaps and think of unique and creative ways that you can stay in your lane and help fill them. Show up at their events. Ask questions loudly. Make comments loudly. And I don't mean loudly by, hey, I don't mean being loud just for the sake of being loud. I'm saying your presence should be heard. When you show up at their joint and you type in the chat, do they immediately say, oh, there's Seesaw. Wait, there's Nobu. Nobu, thank you so much for coming through. Nobu's always in the chat with us. We appreciate their insight, their perspective. They're definitely somebody that who's listen to this, whose opinion we seek out. Thank you for being here, Nobu. Thank you for being here, Silverhead. Thank you for being here, Joanne, because you are part of our solution. Answer their questions, ask questions, sign up for beta testing, systematically reach out for meetings just to provide feedback. Now, I'm telling you these because I know these work, and some of you are going to say, oh, this is the cheat code. But if you don't genuinely want to provide feedback, they will be able to tell. So while I'm sharing these with you, and at the time, I did not know that what I was doing was going to land me some of these deals and relationships that was going to be lucrative for my business and my brand. But I am telling you that if it is not done with a level of authenticity and true concern, they'll be able to tell. Nah, this guy doesn't really, it is not, this woman, they're not really about, helping us. Systematically reach out for meetings to provide feedback. Systematically reach out just to have a random meeting. Hey, we haven't talked in a while. I'd love to, shoot the breeze. Make personal relationships. I talked with I talked with one guy. We used to chat back and forth all the while. We used to shoot emails back and forth. And then I stopped hearing from him for a while, and I reached out, and he got a bounce back at his email address. And then somebody else responded and said, oh, he's not with us anymore. And I did not hear from him for like 6 months. He reached out to me from a different brand where he's currently working, and is now we're in talks to have this whole thing. Sometimes it's just in the relationships. You see, we've kind of dropped the partner and the sponsor because the term that is critical between people is just relationship. We don't need the partnership. We don't need the sponsorship if we have invested genuinely and authentically in relationships. Systematically reach out for meetings to provide feedback, to check in, to see how they're doing. If you're a believer, I would say mingle with the people as one who desired their good. Maybe that's not you, but you get the point. You understand the idea. Valued, meaning followers of the brand that need your service. Okay. Everybody already using the brand of the sponsor is going to associate your face and your brand with the sponsor and gain more valued followers. Listen, you guys are having a great conversation in the chat. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in, but I'm not jumping in yet. These are some of the things I'm sharing with you guys. I want you to see this thing for what it is. Systematically reach out for meetings and provide feedback. Prepare a proposal ahead of time so that you're ready when opportunity knocks. Forget about any brand or platform or anybody that you want right now. How many of you, I was going to say show of hands, but we clearly can't do that. Just by typing a number 1 in the chat, how many of you have a proposal ready to go right now? All you'd have to do, you made some minor tweaks when the brand says, hey, do you have something that we can look at? We'd love for you to be able to do some shorts for us on Instagram, maybe a couple of quote memes, and then a review video on YouTube. Do you have a package of something like that we could look at? If somebody reached out to you today, would you be going to Fiverr and jumping into Canva to ask, how do I get some of these things put together? If you have a proposal already ready to go, put a 1 in the chat. David put a 0. David put a 0. Gary Jones says not yet. Silverhead Fitness says, I like that. Prepare proposal. Nobu says no proposal. Now, if somebody reached out today, would you have one? Because you've got to seize the opportunity in the lifetime, in the moment of the opportunity. The old adage that, there were 2 farmers that desperately needed rain, and Only one of them went out to plow their field. There's only one of them that really believed it was going to rain. So if you believe it's going to rain, you need to prepare your field. Listen, not even sure how to do it. This is great. That's a great place to be. You can start looking at some other proposals that are out there. You can start looking at other templates. You can start asking in your creator community group, who else has had to prepare a proposal? One of the things I love about being on Amazon Live is that it is very much laser focused on how can we be of value to others, not only from the seller standpoint with the influencers, but the influencers with the end viewers and the shoppers. So that whole life cycle of talking with the brand, talking with the, engaging, having the proposals, having the numbers ready, having that whole life cycle, it is a very much a lived experience, an alive and well cycle that we live daily. So yeah, proposals. Oh no, bro. Let me tell you, guaranteed somebody in your sphere has a proposal that you can ask them if they could just anonymize it real quick so that you can take a look at what it is that they do so you can get a feel for what you could do. Listen, Kerwin is in the sales industry, so Kerwin's like, I got proposals for days, y'all. We're not new to this. We're true to this. He says, 16 of you guys on the live. 16 of you guys on the live, and this is what I want to say to you. I'm going to hit this next button. There it is. Prepare ahead of time. I should have been on this slide when I started talking about the proposals. Prepare ahead of time. Prepare ahead of time. Look. Seesaw says one only because photography. I have a constant pitch game, but could be better. I hear you, man. I hear you. And listen, the fact that you have something to work with puts you ahead of the game, and that's good. I'm gonna tell you right now, I had none, so you're doing quite well. You're doing quite well. Wait a minute, is that really the time? Oh my goodness, I'm out of time already. How did that happen? Wow. Prepare ahead of time. I'm gonna rattle off these last ones, and I want to get to these questions real quick. So if you guys could just give me another 10 minutes, I promise you I will be done. Prepare ahead of time is the next piece there. Prepare your proposals ahead of time. Then this one here says, say these words, powered by. Powered by. This is something that I used to do quite often. Sometimes you'll still hear me say, this stream is powered by Ecamm, because that's what I'm using right now. Powered by. Powered by is a term that it tickles the ears of your sponsors. It tickles the ears of those who are like, oh, powered by, huh? Man, that's what they're using. This podcast is powered by Shure microphones. Powered by. I wonder how we could get them to shift that from powered by to sponsored by. Say these words, powered by. All right, we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. And this, I believe, is our last one. And this is the sad reality of partnerships and sponsorships. Powered by sounds much better than sponsored by, Nobu says. Powered by means I simply use their product to get this done. But I'm going to come to your question in just a second. How do we get in touch with you? The saddest, there was over 50 people in the Brand Deal Wizard cohort that I was a part of with Justin Moore. Over 50 people. And in that cohort, not one person there's not one person in there that did not have this particular story. We were looking for you. I can tell you my story. I was on Marquise Murray. What's going on, man? I was on LinkedIn, but my LinkedIn life was not together, y'all. I'm just going to keep it honest with y'all. My LinkedIn life was not together. And a brand reached out to me on LinkedIn in my DMs. I did not see the brand. It was easily months before I saw that message. And it was a brand that I would absolutely love to work with. My question to you, how do they get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with you? Is it a simple process? There's an email address that that YouTube asks you to have on your YouTube channel. Mine is info@howitallworks.com, and I have a team that's checking that. Are you checking your social media channels and email addresses you share with your audience? Are you checking those places? Do you check them regularly? Are they part of your regular routine? You don't want to have that same story that all 50 plus of us in that brand deal wizard cohort had. That we had the experience of a brand looking for us. And because we were not in the rhythm of checking those places that we have already advertised, we didn't see it. Don't miss out on opportunity simply because you weren't checking. Listen, this is how I want to close this thing out. It's actually not very complicated. Partnerships and sponsorships are both trumped by relationships. And you can have a relationship with a brand and not know anybody there, because your experience with that brand will inform your relationship. You can have a relationship with a brand, and then when you get to customer service, your relationship is shifted a bit because the people on the phone didn't treat you the way that you thought the brand would, or the way that you would have expected of a brand of that caliber. This is my relationship with Apple all the time. I'm like, you guys, all you Apple, disciples out there, you're constantly raving about them, but they're actually quite trash in terms of their customer service. That's my experience. And I want it to be different, but it's always been trash. Now, let's not get on that bandwagon. My point is, you can have these relationships, meaningful, in-depth, story-driven relationships. You can think of experience you had with said brand, and you can draw from those experiences when it's time, when an opportunity presents itself. In fact, here's the real clincher. We do this all the time. You're sitting with a friend and they're like, man, I picked up this microphone and I thought it was going to be great. And then I'm saying to him, bro, I just got this MV7X. Here's a link. Listen to my video. Listen to what it sounds like, man. And they're like, yo, what, send me the link. What is that? What is that? And I send it to them. I'm doing this all day. Sometimes they're not even the affiliate link. Why? Because sometimes I forget. I talk about the product because the product is good, not because they're paying. Now, I come live one day on Amazon, and one of the reps from Shure just happens to pass through my live stream, sees the microphone, and he's like, here's a guy who's plugging us, and we don't even have a relationship with him. The guy dug through the internet because he found me on Amazon. So he found my YouTube channel, went through to my email address that I have there on my YouTube channel, emailed me and said, hey, we're just reaching out. I caught your live show today on Amazon. Thought it was really cool that you had the Shure microphone in the shot. Would love to talk to you about some relationship. VA gets the email, sends me a message and says, hey, do you want me to respond back? Sure, just email. I said, no. Send the email to me. I'll respond. So I emailed him directly and we began chatting. And this is a person that I check in with. This is somebody that I grabbed coffee with when I was in California for Social Media Marketing World. This is somebody that hit me up. He was at Podcast Movement this week. He asked me, hey, you're going to be here. You want to catch up? Not necessarily only a friendship that is because there is some gain. This is somebody who I have come to actually say is a friend. Your relationships can absolutely solidify. Listen, because when you have a relationship with somebody, they know what makes you tick. They know what your why is. And so it's easier to find common ground upon which to do business, where money can exchange hands. Yeah. Kirk, you tell it like it is. Let me see what my comments look like and leave my apple alone. Marcus Murray says, just came by, 2 thumbs up or give you some support. J Speed says, the OG, the ghost. Come on. Y'all are doing too good out here. Kirk, does the word affiliate fall into the space of this topic? Sponsored / powered by should to an affiliation with products. I mean, affiliate is just the term that people use for the link. It is what it is. I mean, it sometimes it does have a negative connotation. Sometimes it doesn't, but it just kind of is what it is at this point, right? But let me land this, and I want to take some questions because I told you I would be done in 10 minutes, and we got 2 minutes left. But the idea, remember that the stream. Yes, I remember that stream when Sure came through. Kerwin says, "Thank you so much, Doc, for letting people know." But one of the things that I always find interesting is that in the whole overarching conversation of deals and sponsorships, partnerships, whatever you want to call them, a lot of the times we don't put enough value or emphasis on the fact that these are real live people. I mean, your favorite brand is a company that is hoping that they'll still be there next year. These are people with real lives, with families, with loved ones, with goals and hopes and interests, just like me and you. Now, we may see them as our golden goose, but the truth of the matter is they have needs just like you do. How you approach that brand, looking to solve their need, same like what you would do for your audience, will determine the success of any business type relationship you are able to form. Now, with that said, I've got 2 questions I want to grab here real quick. So Nobu says, I haven't been trying to work with brands. Should I be? I think there is a natural, there are some natural things that will happen for brands that you always use, that you're always talking about. And if you find that that's a thing and you exist in their communities, you're already going to their town halls, you already provide feedback, you maybe are already a beta tester. I feel like those are relationships. Those are brands that come natural. So you absolutely, in my opinion, should seek out ways. Here's the other piece. There sometimes can be benefits for your audience. I've given away multiple Shure gear to my audience because of the relationship I have with Shure. Not because there's some money exchanging hands. And to be clear, there is no money exchanging hands with me and Shure. But they've put me into a program that allows me access to special things. And that allows me to serve my community in a better way than I would have were I not had this relationship. And because I am able to bring somebody from Shure on the show, it increases my stature and my notoriety within my own audience so that I can actually create more referral-based opportunities for myself. You have to see it for what it is. You have to understand what your end goal is going to be with said, outreach or with said project, not speaking of a particular brand, but you have to see that thing for what it is for you to realize whether or not this is a direction that you want to go. I'd love to chat with you more on that. Maybe grab 15 minutes on my calendar. John Banco says, I could use some advice in getting more of those relevant partners knocking on my door. I highlighted this question not because I have an absolute answer. I highlight the question because I think that a lot of us are right here, Joanne. I think that I myself would love to see a lot more of those organic, partners knocking on my door as well. But all I can tell you is in the cases where it has happened, it happened because I was already in their space. It's not like they came searching for me. And it's one case, in one rare case they did, but it happened because I was already doing work that meshed up with what they were doing. Looking at their campaign for the year and saying, that's a good campaign. I understand where they're going with that. I understand the pain point for the audience for which this campaign has targeted. And I can put together a partner campaign. Just me on my own, no big, ad agency or anything behind me. But because I'm putting out that content and I'm seeking to serve the same audience pain points that they are, you begin to start seeing those synergy. You see that overlap. And that overlap are moments and opportunities where, they may end up, hey, see what you're doing over there. We were thinking of doing it like this. We'd love to just kind of pick your brain. It starts like that sometimes. It starts like that sometimes. Sometimes the conversation happens like that. Sometimes it happens because you're in their comment section and you're providing value, you're answering questions, and they're like, Just keep in mind that these are real life human people, and they have needs, wants, desires, goals, just like you and me. When somebody is seeking to serve and deliver value the same way that you are in a specific space, I would dare say you would want to collaborate with them, partner with them. It is not dissimilar. Thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your day, your schedule, to come and hang out with me. I see 22 of you are hanging out with us here on the live tonight. Excited about that. I wanted to see if there's any final questions before we go ahead and close it up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. This series, Live Video Strategy, this is my bread and butter. This is like the base, top level for my coaching program. These are some of the major bookend points that I take people through: defining the brand, right? Understanding your avatar, your perfect person. What is your question that you answer, right? Diving deep on who you are and what you uniquely bring to the table. And then building online community and making sure that their voice is prominently featured as part of your brand and part of what you have to offer. I don't just offer Kirk, I offer the How It All Works community. When I say to speakers who are going to come and you join us on the show, I'm like, it's time for you to get in front of the How It All Works audience. It's an experience, I tell them. It is an experience. I see you out there, Geraldine. Always love when I see you out here. It is an experience. It's the whole series in a playlist, Kirk. It's the last 4 videos. I will put it in a playlist. It is not yet, but it's the last 4 live streams the last 4 live streams that I've done on my channel. And then we talked about automating, scaling, and monetizing, and some of the nuances and the facets of that. Consistency trumps gifting and skill set every single day of the week. That's some of the things that we talked about in those series and those sessions. Why? Because you become a one-trick pony. It's like, so-and-so is phenomenal at what they do, but I don't know when they're going to do it. They did it last week. Then we might not see them for 2 years. No consistency. No consistency. I talked about that earlier today as with the whole, Kobe getting to the gym earlier than his trainer every single time. And it was like, what are you doing? He's like, look, I just recognize that if I practice more than the others, I'll get better than the others. And then we come to tonight's organic partnerships and sponsorships, but both are trumped by relationships. If you are building those relationships, my father-in-law says that relationships are as good as money in your pocket. Somebody can put in a good word about you. Like, yes, Kirk is a content creator. Yes, he's a live video coach. Yes, he's a remote producer. But if you know him, this is just a good guy. I'm just saying, fill in the blank. What is the name? What is your skill set? What is your gifting? Yes, Nobu is a expert in her field. And yes, Nobu does X, Y, Z. But if you know Nobu, if you have a relationship with her, then you just know that this is somebody you want to do business with. This is somebody you want affiliated with your brand. Relationships trump both, and relationships are your ticket to busting that door wide open for whatever your goal might be. Family, I just want to say a word of thanks. I see you out there, Bob Ponce. Thank you so much for coming through. I want to say a word of thanks for all of you coming through tonight, hanging out with us, listening to me drone on and on about this subject. I hope that you got some value from it. I hope that you were able to take some notes. I hope that you were able to peek behind the veil a little bit and essentially see how it all works. And I will see you, family, in the next video. Man, this is just too much fun. I am going to get out of your way in just a second, but I just had to play this little end clip to close it out. Later, fam.